Normally this type of video has me talking for 30 seconds, then I go on to drawing. An easy watch. But this requires me to elaborate a bit, considering the subject matter involves the most notable game series of them all, Far Cry. For the uninitiated, Far Cry is a franchise of games involving the same premise. A normal person with no combat experience is given a gun. That person is you. And everything and everyone wants to kill you. That's the setup for every story in the series, roughly. Beyond the gross oversimplification, the game series is notable for two things. The gameplay itself is one feature. It allows you some freedom to tackle obstacles, from going guns blazing to stealth to using animals to do your bidding, as well as using swimming, flying by wingsuit, or vehicles to get to your destinations. You also get killed by animals from time to time. This trend of engaging gameplay first started with their third entry, and probably the most cited by gamers, Far Cry 3. Released on November 28, 2012, this game changed a lot of people's ideas of first-person shooters. From my experience, everyone I knew at the time said nothing but positive reviews pertaining to this game. This is due to the second feature that distinguished this game from other shooters being released at the time, and that had to do with the story, and more importantly, its villain. The writing and the performance by actor Michael Mando made the villain Voss linger in the gamers' heads long after completing the story missions, so much so that many years later, a separate game tie-in for Far Cry 6 was released, known as Insanity. This time, you play as Voss. I, like many others, was pretty excited, willing to shell out money I didn't have just to play as him and conclude his character arc. Now, it's November 16th, 2021. That's 9 years since the character's introduction. How could I still be as excited to see this character return despite being a semi-responsible 30-something-year-old? The answer lies in what the development team at Ubisoft Montreal did with their previous title, Far Cry 2. Just to give you a synopsis of Far Cry 1, random guy, Jack Carver, gets stuck on an island. Mercenaries, pirates, and mutants attack. Guy saves the girl, gets off the island, cliffhanger, the end. It reads and plays like any action movie. A fantasy, really. So with the sequel, the team decided to take a different approach. Make the experience grounded in reality. And to that, they succeeded. So it's February 2024. I'm slaving away trying to finish that other video involving a certain manga contest. Please watch. At that time, I've run out of movies to play in the background while I'm animating. So I turned to the only other option I have, YouTube. I started to watch video game walkthroughs. For our older viewers, I basically watched other people play video games while working. I decided on a whim to select Far Cry 2 as my distraction. I figured a buggy game from 2008 wouldn't distract me much as I finished my project. That was my mistake. Here's the game in a nutshell. You're a trained mercenary sent, presumably by several governments, to kill a vicious arms dealer, known simply as the Jackal. He's currently somewhere in Africa, fueling one nation's conflict by selling his weapons to both sides. When you arrive, everyone and their grandmother are shooting at each other. Then they look at you. And now, they want to shoot you. In short, TIA. This is Africa. Anyway, your gun doesn't work, your car doesn't work, you don't work. Due to an unfortunate mosquito bite, you are now slowly dying of malaria. And seeing as there isn't a doctor, hospital, or pharmacy where you can get your medication, because they all got destroyed due to the fighting, you're now screwed. So if you find yourself getting shot at in a jungle, rest assured, the bullets won't kill you. The puddle you collapse in head first will. So with the occasional rifle jamming, which does happen in real life by the way due to moisture in hot climates, the game also added another feature to test your patience. That being recruiting other mercenaries trapped in Africa alongside you. They are your buddies. If you collapse, near death, they'll come in out of nowhere to rescue you, giving you what little medication and bullets they have while shooting at whoever bullied you. They become your entire world. However, should they get injured, if you don't save them in time, or if they are too badly injured and you don't have the medication on you, they just die. And they don't come back. They're just gone forever. There's even an animation where you close your friend's eyes once they pass away. The first time that happened, it broke me. Ubisoft is completely aware of this. And to add to the moral grayness of it all, they gave you additional choices on how to deal with this situation. If your friend gets injured, you can just walk away. Leave them for the rebels to kill while you escape. I know, what the hell? This guy comes in to save you, then they get hurt, and you decide to say, "Nah, I'm good. Sucks to be you though," and book it out of there before anyone knows you stole their blood diamonds. Of course, the third option, if that second one appalls you, goes like this. You take out your pistol, look away, and pretend your friend is going to a better place. Bang. They animated that too. Overall, the game doesn't punish you for your choices, and the other characters won't make you feel bad for doing that. To them, it's business as usual. Not even if you waste your entire health kit trying to save your friend, there's no guarantee they'll survive their injuries, which leaves you as the player in a moral dilemma while under fire. I need my meds. I don't have money to buy more, and I'm getting shot at right now. Do I waste my meds trying to save a lost cause, or do I focus on my own survival? The game confronts you with your own morality in the gameplay and your role in the conflict. Some of the missions you're given is to work for whoever's willing to pay for your ticket out of this madness. One mission I observed requires you to destroy a makeshift farm dedicated to creating anti-malaria medicine for civilians, a medicine you are in desperate need of. But because it's owned by the rebels of one faction, you are tasked to destroy it. In exchange, all you get are blood diamonds and information about the Jackal. If you feel like an evil piece of shit for actually doing this mission, don't worry, you're not alone. Because you have freedom of choice, you can always betray your employer and go to their rivals. You can kill them on the spot, walking away knowing you did a good deed. But there's always consequences. Someone else will take their place, and the job your new boss gives you is even worse. They may require you to blow up a facility that provides clean water for everyone in the country. All because they want to make your last employer look weak at the expense of everyone else. I know. This game will make you feel like an evil piece of shit. But if you're lacking in, say, a conscience, and you miss that detail of right and wrong, don't worry. The game has a way to remind you via the Jackal himself. You see, before you arrived in Africa, your journalist friend Ruben managed to record a series of interviews with the Jackal. Later on, the Jackal would record additional tapes of his own for Ruben to find. These tapes were later stolen by rebels and can be found throughout the playthrough. These recordings explore the Jackal's view on humanity, gun running, and his impact on Africa. As to his real name, it's not mentioned in the game, but it has been confirmed that the Jackal's actually the original protagonist from Far Cry 1, Jack Carver. Once a hopeful adventurer, now a man capable of doing whatever it takes to be the last one standing. Editor note here, the Jackal is also played and modeled after Dwayne Hill. He also played the role of Coach Carr in Mean Girls. You remember that movie, right? The guy who says sex is bad and you'll die if you have it is the same guy you're going to Africa to kill. Pretty hilarious. In my mind, Coach Carr changes his name to Jack Carver and becomes a chastity advocate only to land in the Rook Islands, then Africa, If you're an avid fanfiction writer, please write how his mission to spread celibacy somehow led him to arms dealing. We'd all like to hear it. Jokes aside, through these tapes you can see how far he's fallen. Here's one example. Note Dwayne Hill's performance outside of his other aforementioned role. Special thanks to LifePlus for collecting all the tapes and splicing them together. Link to the complete interview below.
You can't break a man the way you break a dog or a horse. The harder you beat a man, the taller he stands. To break a man's will, to break his spirit, you have to break his mind. Men have this idea that we can fight with dignity, that there's a proper way to kill someone. It's absurd. It's anesthetic. We needed to endure the bloody horror of murder. You must destroy that idea. Show him what a messy, terrible thing it is to kill a man, and then show him that you relish in it. Shoot the wound, then execute the wounded. Burn them. Take them in close combat. Destroy the preconceptions of what a man is, and you become their personal monster. When they fear you, you become stronger. You become better. But let's never forget, it's a display. It's a posture, like a lion's roar or a gorilla thumping at his chest. If you lose yourself in the display, if you succumb to the horror, then you become the monster. You become reduced. Not more than a man, but less. And it can be fatal.
Yeah, that's Coach Jackal. Don't mess with him. The first time you meet him, he steals your stuff and leaves you to die mid-malaria attack during a siege. After meeting this guy and discovering new levels of suck, I came to understand one thing. This game is hardcore. It's also buggy for a 20-year-old game, so be aware of that. I was captivated by all these things and had to smack myself back to reality in order to finish my work. I didn't even play the game and I liked it so much. Which is my long-winded rationale for making this video. I want to make fan art of the Jackal. Before we start, and I shut my mouth forever, one last thing. The art is a doodle, so it's not supposed to be perfect. I intentionally left it without color. I just wanted to put what I had in my head onto paper. I'll be depicting a scene that occurs off camera towards the end of the game, where the Jackal is walking amongst refugees toward the border with a briefcase full of diamonds. You'll have to play, watch, or read Wikipedia to find out what happens to him in the end. I took the creative liberty to depict the refugees as having sheep heads. You never see it in-game, but they are preyed upon by the warring factions. It only makes sense to draw them as such, lambs to the slaughter, and a jackal amongst them. Here's the reference sheet I made using Google Docs. I pulled it up on a separate screen while working. Finally, I'm sorry for the video quality. I wanted to test out Medibang's time-lapse recording feature. It's okay, I guess. That said, enjoy the show.
Why Africa? People need weapons all over the world. Why here? Why my home?
Every place is somebody's home, pal. But it doesn't stop people from going to war. I don't start wars. I didn't start this one. It seems like it's your fellow Africans that want each other dead. Besides, why should I give a shit about your home? Why should anyone? You want me to go somewhere else? So there's someone's home you don't give a shit about?
What if it was your home?
War is my home.
Have you ever refused to sell weapons to anybody?
I'm a humanist. I don't judge. Maybe you would.
I couldn't sell arms.
Bullshit, Reuben. You have all the skills to be an arms dealer. Better one than me, even. You're smart, you're creative, you're a salesman. You sold me on doing these dumb interviews. Man, the rest is just paperwork.
I mean, I'll be unable, psychologically, to sell arms.
I'm talking facts and you're talking theory. You're not a good person, Reuben. You've just been lucky enough. You've never had to be otherwise. When it comes down to it, what a man can do is what a man will do. But believe what you want. What do you think you're going to achieve with this interview? You think somebody in the Pentagon's going to read it and come after me? Shit, no. I'm a necessary evil. They want me here. They're glad I'm here. Because if I wasn't, they might have to come try to stem the tide. It would be thankless and worthless. And once the bodies started coming home in bags, they're screwed. A dead 23-year-old from Iowa gets more airtime than the death of 50,000 people he gave his life to protect. So even if they did give a shit, their own media prevents them from taking action. I saw that truck you were driving in, perforated with 50 cal rounds and torched on the side of the road. I looked inside, corpses blown to pieces and burnt, unrecognizable. No camera, no tape recorder, no notebook. So I don't know, maybe you're dead, maybe not. Maybe you'll find these stupid tapes and do whatever the hell you wanted to do with them. Or maybe the interview's over. Wasted words, wasted life. Maybe I'll see you soon.